What's up everybody, Skyhook Garage here, and today we're going to be doing another accessory install on the 2020 Africa Twin CRF 1100 Adventure Sport. So today what we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing the lower wind deflectors down here, and I'm going to show you guys how to remove this panel slightly so you can attach the one attachment point to it, and then I'm going to show you how to do the left and right side, and it's a little bit different than the upper wind deflectors. The lower ones, as you'll see in a moment here, they're a little bit less quality in my opinion on how they attach to the bike, and I'll show you shortly here. So let's head over to the bench and I'll show you what's involved with it. Alright, so here are the lower wind deflectors. This is the right side for it, this is the left side. Alright, here's the box they come in. Here's the part number 08R71-MKS-E20. And in the description below, like I always do, I'll have a link to Honda's accessories website, and that will take you directly to this part, and also there'll be a PDF file on that description of the part, along with being able to purchase it if you want, and you'll be able to look at the installation instructions and whatnot. Now, if you are a Northeast United States individual, there's a company called Mosias up in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. They're the guys that I've been getting all these parts from, and I'm going to put a link for their website down below also, because when you go to Honda Accessories website and you order it, they're basically putting a third party involved into the transaction, and they charge you full price and shipping and all these other things to it. Those guys in Pittsburgh, they're selling these parts for a reduced price, and they're also doing it free shipping and no tax. So it saves you, anywhere from 15 to 20% on the accessories for Honda, for the Honda motorcycle. And especially since it's a 2020, nobody wants to pay full price for something. So I've been getting all my stuff from them, and I'm going to try to hook them up with a little bit more business, and I talked to them about doing it, so you guys should be good. They ship to anywhere: Ohio, PA, New York, Maryland, the DC, Virginia area. I think the guy that I spoke with, his name's Troy. He ships all the way down to North Carolina and whatnot. So anything in the Northeast of the United States, you guys check them out and try to give them a little bit of business. But wind deflectors here, all right, and like I said before, they're a little bit, just for lack of better words, they're a little bit chintzier than the upper wind deflectors. They're a lot softer. As you can see, they're just a rubber type deflector. They mount on the bike. They have the 3M, which I'm not saying it's 3M quality, but it's 3M tape here, just like the upper one had. But the entire wind deflector is attached to the bike with the 3M tape here. This little tail piece here, and I'll show you on the bike once we get back over to the bike, this is just, it's not really holding it on, in my opinion. It ends up hooking into a boss behind the lower fairing piece there, and I really just think it's, if this glue ever does fail, then it'll hang onto the bike and you'll just flop in the wind and you won't lose the deflector, I guess, if it comes off. But more importantly, like I said, with the upper wind deflector, definitely make sure it's at least 70-75 degrees out. Make sure the bike's warm, not running warm, but just like ambient temperature warm, because this glue is going to have a real hard time sticking if it's cold out. So if it's, wintertime, or it's cool out, or you had a rainy day, might not be the best time to do it. Nice, hot, humid day, this glue is going to adhere way better than it would if it was cold out. And also with the upper wind deflector, it kind of ignored the 72-hour setup time for the glue, as I did simply because there was bolts that held it in, where this is just determined by the glue on the 3M to stay on the bike. I'm probably going to even use a little bit of painter's tape to make sure it stays there for a good 24 to 36 hours before I even take the bike out. So always be cognizant of that. So you don't really need anything to do the install. You have the lower wind deflectors here, the right side, the left side. You're going to want the little bit of isopropyl alcohol, clean up, get any solvents and whatnot off. Before that though, you'll definitely want a cleaner, just to make sure you get all the dirt and grime out of there if you've been riding it in inclement weather. So once that's done, rub it down with some isopropyl alcohol, and I'll show you the exact spots. The installation instructions will show you that too. So with that being said, let's head back over to the bike, and I'll show you how they fit up onto there and how you need to pull that panel out to get to that rear boss piece to attach the tail for the deflector. All right, so lower wind deflector, left-hand side. the orientation, it's going to be pretty simple. You're going to see it really only fits on the bike one way. You know, if you have the wrong side, it's going to be, orientation's going to be all off. But the biggest thing is the tail is at the bottom here, and that's going to go through this hole down here. Just feed that in there for now. All right. And then up top here is going to be kind of your lineup mark. You'll see where the body panel is there, and that's the upper part of the wind deflector is kind of going to settle right there. And that's going to be about your orientation right about there. So gluing these on or peeling off the red tape to stick them on the bike is not the difficult part here. The difficult part is orientating this tail to hook onto the boss that's back there. Now the installation instructions aren't very good. They don't really explain how to get at those two bosses, because there's one right about here, right about here, and then there's another one that's right about in here. And basically the boss is just, it's a plastic pin and there's a rubber grommet, and you're pulling the plastic pin out of the rubber grommet. You're going to hook that end of the tail piece. You're going to hook this tail piece around that boss pin, and then once you finish the install, you're going to push the panel back together. The pain in the ass part about this is there's the back panel here, and I'll show you over on the other side. If my camera woman can come over and just point it right about here from the other side, the left side. Thank you very much. So the plastic panel, this plastic panel right here, there's tabs on the black lower cowling, and you have to get your finger up in there and basically just work. There you go, just like that. So let me pop this side out. It's got a little bit of pressure up at the upper top, and then a little bit of pressure down at the lower piece there. You don't want to go crazy. All right, and you can see how this is staying and the lower piece is pulling away. You have to work your way up. Just gently work your fingers in there until you find out where the clip is. There's one. There's the other one right there. And you shouldn't have to go more than about halfway up to pop them out. That should give you enough play once those two bosses, there it is right there. It's a little nerve-wracking because it's plastic and it's your brand new bike, but just be gentle. The plastic's flexible, it's brand new plastic. It'll flex before it breaks. So just be gentle with it. Now if you're watching this video and it's 10 years prior to this, I don't know about the plastic fairings on that bike. But once that's free enough, that'll give you access to pull it away and get that tang or that tail for the lower wind deflector over that plastic boss and put it on there. Now we're going to come back over to the other side, and I'm going to try to get the camera down in there to show you what we're looking at. And real quick before we move on, just when this goes back together, you're just going to gently push these back together and they're going to reseat into where they're supposed to go. So let's go back to the other side here. See if we can get the camera up top in here. All right, so the boss you're looking at is that guy, right? Focus, right in there. See it moving away from the rubber grommet? So you're going to gently pull it away. And when the tail piece gets fed through this hole down here, you're going to feed it up and over that pin there. Once it's up and over the pin past those little tangs, then once everything's glued and pushed onto the bike, you'll be able to push this back in and it will settle back into that hole, and the tail will be caught on that boss pin. All right, so that's about it. I'm going to get the prep work done on the lower wind deflectors, and I'll show you guys that in a second, and then we'll get to sticking them onto the bike. All right, so prep work on the lower wind deflector. These little red tabs here, you want to pull them off about halfway, and then you're going to want to kind of press them without touching the glue, sticky glue piece. Try to press them down at a 90-degree like that so they're accessible once we put it on the bike. All right, so you do that with them. Make sure you do all of them. None of them are short like the upper wind deflector, and you know there was a short one up there and I ended up just pulling it all the way off. And depending on how this goes on this side, I might suggest just pulling them all off and just sticking it on one shot, which personally, I already think that that's what I'm going to end up doing, but let's give it a try now. Only thing you got to worry about too is make sure this little tail piece goes into the hole here, and we'll try to get this guy on. Now your orientation marking is going to be all the way up top here, so that's where I would suggest starting as far as where you want to get this thing lined up at. Just kind of get it right about where it needs to be. Gently press it against there for now. And then each of these tabs, working from top down, you're going to pull them down and out like that while pressing. And we're going to do the top one here. Now the problem that I have with the upper wind deflector when I was doing this, if you press too hard, they end up ripping off. That one didn't, but it was close. So you don't want to press too hard until you get it all the way, until you get them all the way off. Make sure you press it nice and good. Pull the next one, press it nice and good. And to be honest with you, the fact that it's rubber kind of helps out a little bit, because even if you don't get it exactly where you want to, you can kind of push and mold it a little bit to get it to where you want it to be. So get all the tabs pulled out. Give it a good press all the way around. And surprisingly, this actually feels pretty secure, even right now. Still not going to take it for a ride, but I don't think I'm going to have to do the painter's tape idea of taping it and kind of keeping it to the bike. It actually feels surprisingly good. I don't think I know some guys on the forums are talking about replacing that 3M taping with legit 3M taping because everybody said that it wasn't 3M, but I'd be surprised if Honda didn't put 3M on there to begin with. So give it a good press all the way around, all right? All right, and then the tricky part is getting this little piece, little tang piece, little tail piece, I apologize, and getting it up onto that little boss back there. So it looks like you're able to get your fingers down in through the top there, and it might even be easier to do this with before you put the lower wind deflector on. So there we can see the guy kind of hanging right there. You might be able to get it up onto that tab in there. I think on the other side, I'm going to try doing this before gluing the wind deflector on the bike. So you can work, there we go. Actually, that wasn't too terrible. All right, so you can put your fingers in the left or the forward side of the fairing here. Again, I didn't take these bolts out here, okay, to alleviate the stress on the upper part of the fairing. I'm only working down here. So if you're going to put your fingers into the in between the fairing pieces here, just don't yank out with it. Start stressing this plastic up top here where it's still attached. You're going to put wrinkles in the plastic and you're going to be heartbroken. So just leave it like that. You can get your fingers in there and it'll help you get that piece on there. It doesn't have to stretch too far to get to it. I don't think it's a securing strap. I think it's if this glue fails at some point in time, the lower wind deflector is not going to roll down the road somewhere. So once that tail piece is installed on there, you're going to make sure that the pin that you just put the tail piece on lines up with the rubber grommet in the back where that boss will drive through that rubber grommet. Also on the other side, which is right here on the rearward boss, you're going to make sure that that is hooked and lined up in, pushing gently on. Make sure that guy's lined up like I just said you should have, which it is. And you're going to gently squeeze those pieces and the tabs back together on the upper part of the fairing. Work those all the way around. Like that. Gently, of course. All right, make sure that's all nice and smooth all the way around. That's about it. So get the left side done, get the right side done, let the bike sit. Make sure that glue doesn't have anything pushing against it like the Wind will be, and causing it any issues for adhering to the bike. So, all right, so I let the lower wind deflector set up for about 36 hours, and then I just got back today. I put about 5 hours total on the bike, did a 3-hour ride this morning, and then I did another 2-hour ride this afternoon. So hopefully the mower, I got my camera lady out here. Got the camera lady mowing the estate. So hopefully the mower's not too loud for you guys. She's heading down the property right now, so it should get quieter. But anyway, lower wind deflectors. Just like the upper ones, they're really subtle. You can barely tell they're there. They're still nice and sticky, nice and stuck on. Like I said, I'm not going to go grabbing on them trying to yank them off. But more importantly, looks. They look good. They're extremely subtle. You can barely tell they're there, like I said before, and you can't even see them when you're sitting on the bike. As far as functionality, I didn't really see a whole lot when I was riding today. I didn't feel a whole lot, I should say. The bike generates quite a lot of heat. And it was about 95 degrees out today, and it was hot. So a lot of heat coming off the bike. So I really didn't notice any type of deflection going on in that department. With that being said, I definitely like to try it when it's cold out. Getting that cold air away from me would be nice. So I'll definitely try to post a better review once I take it out in the cold. But yeah, hopefully this video was helpful. I just placed an order for all the panniers and the brackets and the stays for them. I'm going to have that video posted in a couple weeks. A buddy of mine that I work with, him and I are going to do a good chunk of the Mabder this year, the Mid-Atlantic Discovery, Backcountry Discovery route. Yeah, it's kind of a jumbled mess of words there, but I'll post some videos from that and whatnot. He's got a Yamaha Super Tenere 1200, and I'll be taking this. I'm pretty sure it's just going to be the two of us, but should be a good time. Hopefully I'll have the crash bars by then, but they're on back order. There's a couple different things that have been taking a while to get to me, but the panniers are in stock. I will have them in the next video. I'm going to break that up into all the different videos you need for the panniers. We'll get into that next time, but thanks for watching. Just hit that subscribe button, like the video, and I hope this was helpful for you guys, even though it was a long digression. But until next time, thanks for watching.